The people of San Fernando are fortunate to have the 40-acre Palmiste Park on the outskirts of San Fernando. If you've never seen Palmiste Park, here is a brief look at parts of the park. Have you ever wondered how Palmiste Park came to be? The story begins 240 years ago with the birth of John Lamont in Scotland. And at the age of 20, John Lamont came to Trinidad to work as an overseer on a sugar estate. After 7 years, he had acquired enough money to, along with a friend, purchased 360 acres of a sugar estate called Cedar Grove, along with its 100 slaves. He also became the manager of the nearby Palmiste estate. John's brother, Boyden, came to Trinidad to join John, and they bought the nearby 320-acre Canaan estate, plus the remaining acres of Cedar Grove estate. John then went on to buy the La Grenade estate plus the Cascade and River estates in Diego Martin. Boyden died in 1837 at the age of 43, and the properties that he owned were passed on to John. John Lamont died at his house at Cascade Estate in Diego Martin in November 1850 at the age of 68. When he died, he left all his holdings to his nephew James. James Lamont had been an Arctic explorer and writer. However, because he inherited these estates from his uncle John, he came to Trinidad to manage the estates. When James came, he undertook what we in the modern era would call an organizational restructuring and centralization. He sold the Diego Martin estates and then bought Palmiste estate, where John had been an overseer, plus some other estates. And let me check my notes to make sure that I get them right. He bought the estates of Bel Air, Philippine, and La Resource. In effect, he had centralized his holdings into one geographic area, getting rid of the northern estates and centralizing his on estates that were situated on the Naparima Plains, on the outskirts and surrounding San Fernando. And this seemed to do them well for a while. But then by 1907, the estates were in financial trouble. The Lamonts had been engaged in basically a monoculture, the growing of sugar cane. And sugar prices had been declining because of competition from beet sugar. At that point, James decided, time to sell everything, get out of sugar, and get out of Trinidad. But his son Norman intervened and convinced him not to sell, and also convinced him to turn over the running of the estates to him, so that the son Norman then took over the managing of their agricultural empire. Norman Lamont continued the process of organizational restructuring and diversified the base of his business. He sold the sugar factory. He diversified away from sugar by planting bananas, cotton, limes, coconuts, rubber, cassava, and cocoa, with a factory to process his products. He introduced a sharecropping system with the Indian indentured laborers who worked on his estates, renting them small parcels of land on which they could grow crops. These business changes allowed the Lamonts to hold on to their properties. Norman Lamont did not just view agriculture as a means of making money. He had a keen interest in agriculture. He served on the Board of Agriculture from 1915 to 1923. He reared bulls and took part in the agricultural exhibitions that took place around the country. In September 1949, he was asked to pose for a photograph near his prize bull, which he called Adam. Unfortunately, the bull gored and stomped on him before it was shot dead. Norman died a day later. When he passed away, his gift to the people of Trinidad was Palmiste Park, which was willed to the country to be either an agricultural college campus or a public space. Now that you've learned the history of Palmiste Park, let us look at some other parts of Palmiste Park. Well, you can't have somewhere called Palmiste Park and not have some Palmiste palms. Palmiste Park has a number of historic items, but unfortunately, you have to know what you're looking for because they are not labeled. These 4 concrete blocks, for example, are the foundations for an oil well that had been drilled in the park. If you want to see other videos of outdoor activities in Trinidad, select one of the videos that is appearing on your screen now.